Greetings, one and all. This is Greg for Fan Insight. Today's talk focuses on two areas. Number one is the uh, the bull versus bear case for Tesla, and sort of a revisiting of this, I think, in an interesting way. The second thing we focus on today is Daimler losses on their Ecascadia. You'll see the vehicle being pictured behind me. Users in the United States as well as Canada have been invited to configure all of their vehicles. Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. If this is your first time on our channel, please take time to like and subscribe. Any and all likes really affect the ranking of our videos and really impacts the degree to which other folks notice. I wanted to note, greetings Norman and others. We'll definitely respond to you at the end of our talk, because for those who are watching this on tape delay, the shout outs actually kind of interrupt their ability to enjoy the commentary. So today's commentary was sort of triggered by a CNBC talk in which there's a noted Tesla bull that was reviewing reasons why Tesla is an excellent investment that it's set to grow dramatically. I'm really enjoying the battle between sort of the bulls and bears in Tesla right now, because there's this question mark of, will Tesla go out of business? Are they viable? All these questions are lurking. And as you know, we're definitely supportive of what they're trying to accomplish and would like to, greatly like to see them move forward. So let me first present the bear case that was presented, which was the negative case. So the analyst who presented indicated that if you're an analyst and you're a good analyst, when you're reviewing Tesla, you have to be mindful of the fact that there are all these negative numbers, the amount of cash they're burning, the number of targets that have been missed, et cetera, et cetera. All of those arguments, I think, are totally valid. The one response that's sort of the core of the Tesla response to the negative stories is sort of, if you look at Amazon put together a whole system that lost money for a long time, and now they've got a whole structure with which they can make a great deal of money. And so the general argument on the bull side of Tesla is exactly that. So I really enjoyed this conversation. We've kind of reviewed this before, but I enjoyed the latest iteration on CNBC because there was more of an effort to sort of put meat on the bones of why this makes sense. So one example of which is, if you total out the number of Model 3s that have been ordered times an average price of those vehicles, that equals $14 billion in back orders. So one of the arguments pro Tesla is, you got $14 billion of back orders vehicles. I actually believe that the real order backlog for Tesla is more like $30 billion, because there are a lot of people that don't get on waiting lists because they can't afford to wait 3 to 6 months for a vehicle. They have to have one relatively soon after purchasing. So I think the real usable market for a Tesla Model 3 is 2 or 3 million, maybe 5 million people that are in that mix. And it's at least 1 million people a year that are ready to make that purchase. So therefore, one argument on the pro side, I think, is the backlog of orders. Another argument that's been made against Tesla is the arrival in terms of the number of vehicles that, be it the I-Pace or the e-tron, are now bringing forward to present as competition to Tesla. Now, those are very big companies that are behind those two products. In the case of the I-Pace, we're talking Volvo. In the case of the e-tron, we're talking VW. In the VW situation, a very interesting thing has come about, which is they've currently delayed the delivery of the VW based on the fact that the CEO has been arrested. A CEO of Audi has been arrested. I think that's kind of a ridiculous sort of statement, because there are other executives that could lead the introduction of that product. So I thought it was a little bit fishy when they indicated that the delay was occurring for this reason. So kudos to Tesla in this regard because the product isn't delayed and they've got huge back orders that other individuals don't have. What I find strange about the competitive threat discussion that goes on for Tesla is number one, and this is also what the analyst pointed out, is number one, the competitors entering the market do not have supercharger station. Number two, we don't know if those vehicles can supercharge. Number three, both vehicles specs that I've seen say 238 miles. And there are a lot of users that when the total number is in that 90,000 range, I don't know if and how large that market is of people that are willing to pay that much for that shorter range. So Tesla's 310 miles along with supercharger is a superior sort of combination solution in my mind. The next thing that sort of came up was, you know, Tesla's cash burn volume. I've always been fascinated by the Tesla cash burn because it's kind of like Obamacare as a phrase that was used. And what I mean by that is that one of the ways to get people to vote against something is to put a name on it and then ride that name. So when you're burning cash, for example, it doesn't suggest that you're investing for the future. It suggests that you've taken a pile of cash out behind the building and you've lit it on fire and there's nothing to show for it. The answer, I believe, is that you have a couple of large factories that are producing batteries and cars, and they're considered best of breed in many ways right now. So it's not really burning cash, it's more using cash. So the bull and bear case suggests basically that there are a lot of people hoping Tesla will go out of business, and if Tesla is meeting the 5 and then 8,000 units of production, this case for them going out of business, I think, really disappears. So, long-winded statement to say, there's a large group of people who make a huge amount of money if Tesla goes under. They're supported by analysts and in some cases newspapers. And so if at any point a negative story can be told, it's carefully listened to and repeated by everyone involved. I will say that the New York Times did do a piece about Tesla reinventing how automobiles are done. There's something called prototyping in terms of a production line. And one of the problems that Tesla's run into is that by not prototyping the production line before building it fully, they then found out that there are certain things that robots were unable to do efficiently. So instead of catching that in prototyping, they're catching it as they're trying to execute production. And so this is one of the reasons why we've had these shutdowns and retrofits that you've heard about. So long-winded statement to say, there is a bull case for Tesla, which is there's a huge back order of folks that want to buy. Tesla has a 3 or 4 year advantage still on batteries. And, therefore, I really think a really bright future after they build out and then efficiently run their system. The bear case is that Tesla will run out of money, etc. Now, this leads us to our next step, which is Tesla has announced that they're taking orders from all order folks, all those who've ordered in North America and Canada. This is an interesting circumstance because part of the deal right now is Tesla's asking those who are configuring their vehicles, they'll get their car between 2 and 4 months from now, but they'll have to put up another $2,500. If you sort of number it out, I think this gives Tesla about an extra $400 million to work with in that time period to help get these cars out. So I think it's a way to creatively get it financed by having users put up extra cash if they want to get their vehicles in that time frame. And now that Tesla has introduced this, and they have the advantage of that backlog, one wonders then, what if they choose to do this with European and other folks that order? And if they do that, I think this eliminates the potential go out of business because they're short on cash problem that we talked about. I also want to remind you that we've asked all of our users if you can afford to prepay for your vehicle to do so, because the company could really use that capital to help fund operations. And I'm confident that you'll get some kind of consideration to go with that cash that helps them move forward effectively. The next thing I wanted to sort of jump into today is the whole Ecascadia from Daimler-Benz. Now, there are a lot of people that have been talking badly about Tesla regarding its cash expenditures. I wanted to note to you that yes, Tesla's putting out cash, but in case of Daimler, from what I can calculate, Daimler is losing about $1 billion a year in an attempt to catch up with Tesla, and thus far their efforts have been unsuccessful. The latest iteration of that is the Ecascadia, and in this case they're looking at 250 mile of range, but they're also looking at a 90-minute charge time back to an extra 200 miles if necessary. I think this is good that they've been able to get to this level, because a year ago Daimler was talking about 100 miles on the vehicles that they were producing. So being up to 250 of range suggests that Daimler and their battery suppliers are starting to make progress in terms of increasing the range of their vehicles. Now, 250 miles is nice. They've also announced they're going to deliver to customers, I believe, 200 vehicles by the end of this calendar year. Also impressive. I really think their goal there is to put pressure on Tesla to show that they're serious. In the case of these trucks, from what they've done on their other vehicles in Europe, the answer is that Tesla has made it, or Daimler has made an effort to charge maybe a third to a half of what the real cost is of the trucks in order to get them out into a test situation with customers, lose some money, but not, lose completely, dollars as those vehicles are being put sort of in action. And obviously Daimler gets to collect a lot of data as those trucks are in action. I have to admit that, several of my viewers and others have really talked about the fact that Daimler doesn't at all seem serious, because as you can see from the new Ecascadia, one of the elements of design that they've done is sort of cool lights on the front grille, but there's been no change in the configuration of the truck's front to take advantage of aerodynamic elements as Tesla has. So I find it very strange to see an important player that controls 40% of the trucks in the world not respond quickly and aggressively to all aspects, be it charging stations as well as truck design, to respond to the Tesla threat. So bottom line is that great job that Daimler is coming after Tesla. They're definitely making progress and strides. It's a slow, step up to get there, but I think it's better for all of us to have more than one company doing well in this space when it comes to vehicles, be it cars or trucks. The last thing I wanted to dabble in today is the whole issue of sort of car and paint management. I'll invite you all to take a look at the photos that we have from our last week on Tesla Fan Insight on Facebook, because there are images there of Model 3s arriving with a fitted cover over the car. One of my arguments / suggestions has been that moving vehicles across country that are worth more than $50,000 that are not covered inside of a truck potentially introduces damage to paint and other things that you don't have if it was an enclosed truck. So I just wanted to articulate the fact that there is this issue, and if you can get a cover like what Tesla is using, I think that should be a hot item to cover your vehicle in the garage to prevent dust and other things dropping onto your car while it's under storage. Anyway, I was eager to sort of get our story in here, because I think we'll have one more show to go before we actually see the numbers that Tesla has delivered. And I think it's an important time for the company and all those that want to see it do well as customers waiting on their vehicles. Would love to have any of y'all comments. I want to thank you for your hellos from Utah, as well as from other parts of the world. We always appreciate any and all contact, as well as commentary on our videos. I want to also remind you that please take 5 or 6 seconds to watch ads that are placed that help support our channel. Additionally, we do have a Patreon account, and would really appreciate any and all support there. That does help us in our process of improving equipment and how we execute. Final note here is that, as usual, I try to go out in different languages. So German, tschüss, macht's gut. French, au revoir, lehitraot. Um, Hebrew, um, lehitraot. Farsi, khoda hafez. And uh, in Jamaica, we say, enough respect, walk good man. And as you've seen behind us, we've had sort of coverage of the new e-truck from Daimler, which is in the US as the Ecascadia, but I expect it to show up in the global supply chain for Daimler as other names, depending on what the brand is. Again, thanks for taking time out on a busy day, especially a big soccer day. Germany's not going to win, but it looks like Brazil may have a chance here. I say Brazil or Belgium gets the W in this case. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thanks. Wow, I have to learn. Lucas, thanks. Our next conversation. Have a great day.